Bills, Broncos. Going through what y'all need to know to make some money on this bitch. So we got the picks real quick. Buffalo favored by 6.5 in Denver, and a over under set of 49. So I actually think both sides of this are bettable. Bills minus 6.5 and the under 49. Not quite super strong. I'll get into why, but yeah, I definitely think they're both bettable. And the Bills money line, Bills are going to win the game. So stick around. I'll tell you how and why this how will go down. So first we got the Bills offense versus the Broncos defense. Injury wise, literally nothing of note on either side. Um, so run game first. Listen, the Bills don't have a high floor as a running team anyway. Generally, they're not very good, and that kind of stems from their interior line being kind of weak, their run scheme not being very good, and their running backs not being very fast, which just creates a problem with getting chunks on the ground, and that's going to absolutely going to be the case here. I mean, on the interior, this is a pretty significant advantage for the Broncos. Now that they're healthy, Shelby Harris, Draymond Jones, Marcus Walker, the main guys that play in there are all like actively good, especially Shelby Harris, who's like a borderline elite player. And that's gonna be a problem in this game for sure. Now, I will say they're not super like stout. Like they can get moved off the line of scrimmage if they don't win real quick, and you're gonna see that a little bit. But overall, the interior is not great, and on the edges too. I mean, Broncos edge defenders are at least good run defending guys. Malik Reed, Bradley Chubb, and while I like Darrell Williams, the Bills' right tackle a lot, he's gonna be able to move some people. It's not gonna be a constant thing. So at the second level, Broncos linebacker is pretty good, especially in a scenario like this, where they don't have to move so sideline to sideline. They can kind of react forward a lot, and you're going to see that they're going to be all right in this game. So their overall run game for the Bills, yeah, just kind of mediocre, not great. That's pretty standard for them. They're used to dealing with that, but don't expect anything better in this one. So the fast game. So pass rush first. Again, Shelby Harris, huge deal on the interior. Now, this is I like the Bills better in pass pro than in run blocking in that respect. Mitch Morse, Sean Feliciano, both good, but they're guards. So they finally benched Brian Winters. Thank God. I talked about that shit for a while. He's terrible. Ike Botker, though, who they've been playing now, not all that much better, and you're going to see him have some issues with all three of those Broncos rushers I mentioned earlier. On the edges, though, Bills are significantly better than the Broncos. Bradley Chubb, not a good pass rusher, really. He's pretty fine. If Von Miller was on the other side, he'd look a lot better, but he's not. And their other edge, whether it's Malik Reed, Jeremiah Tashu, they're nothing special. Malik Reed gets sacks because he tries hard, but he doesn't like create pressure. So then we got the receivers. And this is something I talked about in the Steelers game, and it's the case here. Stephon Diggs is going to be miles and miles and miles and miles ahead of whoever's guarding him on the Broncos. Broncos now, so I should I guess have mentioned this. This isn't necessarily an injury thing, but they're starting corners at this point, right? Are Michael Jamudia, bad rookie, Devontae Bosby, bad player, and their slot corner. Um, we'll see who actually plays last week because both Issei Basie and Bryce Callahan probably out for the rest of the season. So you're talking. I'm gonna guess because of what they did last game. They're gonna put Will Parks in there. Will Parks, safety, who's on the Eagles. Was on the Broncos for a while. Got signed with the Eagles in the offseason. Got cut because he's bad and he couldn't even play in the Eagles secondary. Came back and they started using the slot corner and he was fucking bad in the Panthers game. He got beat by Robbie Anderson like I don't know 5 plays in a row on like simple slants and that's pretty much a disaster because here you're dealing with Cole Beasley, who also is significantly better than whoever's guarding him, and even Gabriel Davis, the Bills' other receiver, rookie guy, he's pretty damn good too. So you're going to see tons of separation constantly. As far as the quarterback goes, Josh Allen not going to struggle with the Broncos do defensively a ton, but I will say there's actually a little bit of potential for him to be limited some. He's not still not great against like zone defenses the way, and that's what Vic Fangio runs with the Broncos variation of zone defense. So you're gonna not see him be perfect, but his receiver is gonna be so open, and there's not enough pass rush to make up for it that he's gonna end up being really good. Although I will say I think Justin Simmons probably has a pick in this game. I mean he's a really good free safety, and he's the exact type of player that gives Josh Allen trouble. But that's like a 1 out of 80 play, right? So whatever. So yeah, the overall passing is gonna be really good. It's gonna be like what you saw against the Steelers, except for better, basically. So I have them at 23 to 30 points. I think that's pretty safe. I could argue putting it higher, but it is outside on the road in a cold game in Denver, and the Broncos do have good safeties. Well, specifically Justin Simmons, which makes me worry a little bit. Yeah, I'll go 23 to 30. For the Broncos side, so I talked last week. I thought Drew Lock was going to go off, and he did. He's pretty predictable. If he plays he's like kind of like Daniel Jones, except for worse. If he plays a terrible team where he's given all the advantages, he's going to look good. But if he's not, then he's not going to look good. In this game, he does not have those advantages. Um, Run game first. Broncos still have a really good run blocking line. Now, they ended up benching both their starting tackles last week, DeMar Dotson and Garrett Bowles. Garrett Bowles was like a health thing, they said, but I don't know if Garrett Bowles is going to play. I'm assuming DeMar Dotson's out for the rest of the year. They just suck, so they're playing younger guys. Um, Garrett Bowles plays. That helps them a lot. But I don't. I just that's one. Normally, I at least have something on it. I don't know if he's going to play or not. So we'll go with him and Elijah Wilkinson / Calvin Anderson, the right tackle. Those were the tackles that started last week. Yeah, run blocking wise, on the interior, they're going to be good because their guards are really good. Dalton Reiser, Graham Glasgow, who's questionable. I think he's going to play, though. And even if it's Netane Muti, whatever, their rookie guard that they started last week, he actually was pretty good. So I think they're going to be able to push on the interior. Bill's interior guy is not very good. I want to say Ed Oliver, Jesus, and Quentin Jefferson and Vernon Butler, whoever. None of them are awful, but none of them are very good. So you're going to see a little bit of advantage there. On the edges, though, Bills edge defenders okay. Um, versus the run, not great, but again, it's kind of more of a neutral situation. The second level, Bills linebackers with Matt Milano back get a whole lot better. He's easily better than Tremaine Edmonds. He's their best linebacker, and he's going to help a lot. You saw it versus Steelers last week. Now they're not perfect. Tremaine Edmonds and especially AJ Klein still kind of bad, and I just want to mention here, Terrell Dotson back up on the Bills. He started a couple games when they were going through a bunch of injuries earlier. He's actually good. He should be playing over AJ Klein. I just want to mention that right now. He's not going to be because of the veteran thing, but just so that's on record. But yeah, so the linebackers aren't awful, but not great. So I do think you're going to be able to see while the game's close, the Broncos are going to be able to run the ball. It's not going to be crazy. It's not going to be some dominant thing, but they're going to be able to run the ball. So we get to the pass game, and this is where their problems come. Pass rush wise, not a ton. The Broncos tackles are kind of bad. Even if it is Garrett Bowles, he's pretty good, but there are other edges of vulnerability. And if it's not Garrett Bowles, then you're talking about enough there to actually be worrying. On the interior, though, they're basically going to be fine. Yeah, their guards are significantly better than the Bills' defensive tackles. Receivers, though, Jerry Jeudy, look, he's good. I think he's going to be good. He does get separation, but it's actually not to the same level as even other, because I know that was his reputation coming out of college, but it's not to the same level as like Justin Jefferson of the Vikings, or even frankly Gabriel Davis, the Bills rookie on the other side of this of the ball, is pretty comparable. I think they're both good, but they're not enough to drive play by themselves like someone like Terry McLaurin is. So that's a problem. KJ Hamler had a long touchdown, and I do think he looks pretty good. This game, I'm a little bit more worried about him, though. And then Tim Patrick's doesn't get separation at all. He is fine with contested catches. He had like a hot streak earlier this year. Point is, the Bills' corners are better than the Broncos' receivers at this point in all their respective careers, and whoever Tre'Davious White guard covers is not going to get open. So, and the important one, Drew Lock, the quarterback. So he still sucks. I told y'all that he was going to go off last week. He did. Like I said, very predictable. Still bad. He was given a ton of advantages in that game. And he still, frankly, wasn't even that good. So here, he's not going to be very good. He struggles to read zone defenses consistently. He makes bad decisions. And the Bills' safeties, who are both legit good players, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, are going to be able to react to what he's doing and make a lot of plays in this game. Now, they're not perfect. They're not coverage safeties the way that like Kevin Byard is on the Titans, something like that. But they're good. They're easily good enough. And like I said, the corner's good here too. So Drew Lock not going to be a positive in this game, and there's danger for turnovers too. And there's enough pass rush to get to him. So yeah, I do think their overall pass game is going to end up being like okay, because I do still think Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler can do some stuff. I should mention Noah Fant. I put him really. He's almost identical to T.J. Hawkinson. Funny that they came from the same college, but neither of them get open very well. If you get the ball in their hands, they're both good. Especially Noah Fant. He's the better of the two, but they're not anywhere near what you need to like drive play by themselves. So that's kind of what you end up with here is a bunch of options who are okay, and if they're schemed open, they're going to do fine. but no one who's going to consistently be moving the ball up and down the field, and it's not going to be Drew Lock. So you run into a bunch of problems, and once you get to the red zone, they don't have any real advantages outside of being able to run the ball okay, which is, I mean, that helps for sure. It's better than a lot of teams would have. But I have them in a point spread of 13-20, and there's a tiny chance it goes higher if Drew Lock, because he's still going to throw the ball down the field a bunch, right? And if for whatever happens, if he gets like 5 deep pass interferences or some dumb shit like that, then sure it could go higher, but you're never betting on that. So I have them about 13-20. That's why I think the Bills minus 6.5 is bettable. That's just a little bit high, and Josh Allen's still not perfect. Like you saw, example would be like the game versus the Jets earlier, which they did end up winning by like 7 or 8, but that type of thing where it gets close to that. And same with the under 49. That's basically betting that Drew Lock is bad, which is true. But there is a chance that some dumb shit happens because that's number's not super high, but I feel pretty good about it. So Bills minus 6.5, under 49.